Good evening, Papua New Guinea, and welcome to a brand new episode of Rendezvous with Leanne. Now, I'm joined here with the very beautiful, talented Miss Alyson Joyce. Alyson, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Leanne.
How are
Thanks
you?
for having me. I'm really good. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm really excited to have her on the show because I've been trying to, get in touch with you for a while, and then saw you at this event down in town a couple of weeks ago, and thought that was my chance to, build up courage and go and ask you. But thank you for joining us. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm Alyson. I'm 30-something years old. My mum is from Bougainville. My dad's from Australia. I've been in Moresby for about 4 years now, 5 years almost, yeah. I have a little boy who's 4. I'm a singer. I've travelled the world and yeah, I don't know, there's not much else to say really.
Tell us a little bit about your music. I mean, Courage is right now,
Thank you.
I don't know, number one. I wouldn't say number one. What would it
No,
be?
we keep getting knocked off by Justin Bieber.
Yeah. But it's definitely, you can't drive down the road without, the radio station playing Courage every, few minutes. Tell us a little bit about your music.
Well, that song in particular was a collaboration with AK-47. He called me up one day and said, because for years we've been trying to work together. We used to work together with Massive Sound System. So backtrack a little bit for my music. I've sort of been performing since I was about 16, so a very long time now. I travelled all through Asia and Europe and lived in the UK and Australia, but I never really released anything. I sort of met up with AK in Brisbane and was a part of his group Massive Sound System. So we did Everywhere and a couple of other songs, and I've always just featured on other people's tracks and I've never really done anything on my own. So when Alan called me and said, I've got this song, and it was about the shooting that happened, the really unfortunate incident in Hanobada. So firstly, I just thought, well, that's brilliant. What a great way to make a statement through music. And to be able to do that is fantastic. So I heard the song. I heard the beat that he'd done, and we sat together and wrote it. And it came out really well. And we were so surprised and really proud and happy, with the reception that we've been getting so far. So my son sings the song when it comes on in the car as well.
Great segue, actually. Tell us a little bit about your family. You mentioned you have a son and supportive parents.
Yeah, so I have a little boy who's 4. His name is Cole. He's a fantastic little boy, extremely musical. I'd like to think he'll be a singer, but I'm probably not going to encourage that just yet. Okay. My parents are fantastic. They've always been very supportive. I very much attribute my taste in music to them. I grew up listening to, awesome music like the Beatles and Bob Dylan and Neil Young and Fleetwood Mac, who I just saw live. Wow, they're amazing. But they've always been supportive with my career, which is, a bit of a difficult one. You really have to be committed to if you want to become a musician and
especially
a successful
in this
one.
industry.
Yeah, in this industry, in all industries. It's a very cutthroat industry, and you need thick skin. And for a long time I sort of was floundering, just absolutely doing nothing, going nowhere, floating around the world, just, so. But it's always been there, it's always been a passion, it's always something I've strived to do and achieve, and thankfully my parents have not given up on me. So eventually I'll write a nice big check for them and say thank you for the millions you spent on.
Sure you will. So tell us, what does the future hold for your music, basically? What can we expect from you in the coming months, years?
Yeah, well, strangely enough, the song Courage has kind of so it's created some momentum with me and Alan as well. I think collectively we work really well together. We write really well together. I've always struggled with writing music because I can't seem to get it down. You know, I don't have that technical mind when it comes to beats. It's all in there. It's like a symphony in my head, but I just can't get it out. So when I sit down with AK, I find it just, you know, it just happens, which is great. And I've really longed for something, a partnership like that musically. So we're actually about to drop a new single.
Okay.
So it's great timing that you asked me onto the show.
You heard it here first, guys. Yep.
Hopefully that'll be out, I'd say towards the end of April, May. And
That's soon.
yeah, pretty soon. Yep. I think it's, you know, I think for a long time I sort of just sat back and waited for years to do anything else. But now it's like you need to just keep going, and people, once they get a taste of it, they want to hear more. And I think it's important to give, you know, to be able to express it like that. So I don't want to sort of lay dormant anymore. So we'll shoot the film clip for that track. I can't tell you what it's called yet, but it's a follow-up to Courage. Yeah.
All right. And how about a video for Courage? Can we expect anything like that soon?
Possibly. We'd like to, because Courage is such a powerful, I guess it's an anthem, and the message behind it and the story behind it is, you know, it's pretty close to home for some people, for a lot of people, especially Alan. So I think if we do a clip for that, we'd really like it to be done properly, and, you know, not rush anything. We'd love to shoot it here in PNG, you know, possibly at the village where the incident occurred. And I think it'll sort of take a lot, logistically it might take a little longer, but yeah, eventually we'd love to do a clip for it. Courage in the light of fire. Courage in the light of fire.
So tell us, you know, overseas and in other in music industries in other countries, they usually release a single and then followed up by an album and then touring. You know, a lot of Papua New Guineans probably want to know, you know, if you'll be traveling around singing Courage as well as the other, you know, other songs that come up. So can we expect any, you know, any shows coming out?
I hope so. Yeah, I think so. I think because I don't have a lot of repertoire, you know what I mean? So Courage is great. I can't really, you know, travel around singing other people's songs, you know, which would be great, mind you. But I think, once we develop a bit more of a repertoire, we'll release Courage, we'll release the next single, there'll be follow-ups after that. An album, absolutely, I would love to release an album. I actually got in touch with a couple of local artists. I'm obsessed with Narksen at the moment. I think he is just the bee's knees. And that song, Mary Nakanai, it's just, oh my gosh. Every time it comes on, volume is up. So I actually emailed him and said, hello, would you like to collaborate? Yeah, I'd love to work with more artists here, because as much as you know, what we've done, Alan and I, it's very international sounding. Which is, you know, as you mentioned, I would like to release something that's, you know, has more of a Papua New Guinean feel, whatever that is. You know, at the moment it sounds sort of reggae-ish and a bit more laid back. So yeah, I think I'd like to be able to release more and more and have my own album as Alyson Joyce, you know, collaborating with people like AK and you know, other industry names.
I'm sure a lot of, I mean, I for one would definitely buy your album if you do release it. You mentioned collaborating with artists, and you know, I just want to know, I'm new to the music industry in Papua New Guinea. I don't know much about it, so tell me, how are other artists like in collaborating? You know, how open are they? Is there, you know, in terms of jealousy, is there, you know, or are they more laid back and open-minded about it?
I've always found artists here to be, you know, they are very receptive. People, you know, I've worked with Anselm, he's great. His music is very powerful, it carries a message. I've worked, you know, I've worked with, I can't really think of who I've worked with off the top of my head, but you know, they are receptive. I think there's a mentality in PNG though, where people kind of are set in their ways. Yeah. So it's difficult to get someone to perhaps think outside the musical box they live in, you know. And that's fine, that's perfectly fine. And I think releasing something like Courage and seeing the reception, seeing the positive reception, it does show that slowly the, you know, country's changing and we're able to accept that this is a Papua New Guinean artist who is influenced by international music and therefore can produce international music rather than, oh, you have to sing in Tokpisin or you have to sing, you know, reggae songs, you have to sing. I mean, reggae's not even Papua New Guinean, let's face it. So I'd love to have a tribal influence though. I think if you listen to Courage, you know, the drums in there have a... AK's really good at, you know, meshing cultures musically. But yeah, I think mostly artists here are... I think there needs to be a lot more support for musicians and artists in Papua New Guinea. Unfortunately, it just doesn't seem to be a priority. And so it makes it very difficult, A, to make money, which is not everything, but it is an important thing. You need to be able to make money. And B, you know, tour and be recognised. I mean, you know, great, awesome Yumi FM awards, all the awards that they have, fantastic. I think more people should get behind them. I think, you know, there should be institutions where we can train musicians. You know, there should be a music school here, there should be an art school. We should have recording studios set up to train, you know, future engineers and all that. But sadly, I don't really know how, you know, unless the government gets up and recognises that it's an important thing. And it is an industry, it is a career. You're great, your show Vocal Fusion is fantastic, you know, it pushes and promotes. But I think the reality of being a musician and a performer and its longevity is something that people need to be educated on, because it's not all glamorous. It's not, you know, you don't have bling, or we're not Beyonce and Jay-Z in this country, you know what I mean? So it's there's a reality to it that needs to be addressed. But yeah, we lack support. So that's
What I've noticed is that in the music industry in Papua New Guinea, it's pretty much male dominated. You know, you have a lot of males, but you don't have that many females. You have you, and the only other person I've heard of is Mariani Masani. So I mean, what do you feel about that? Why do you think that's the case?
I think it's just a cultural, or at least not necessarily cultural, that's the wrong word, but more of a historical thing, you know. Bands have always been very masculine in this country. The pop star image doesn't quite yet exist. You know, we have the closest thing to a pop star in this country, I think, would be, you know, the Jokema guys. I mean, Hans is a great front man, and he's, you know, their new single's great as well. And but yeah, we haven't quite yet embraced that kind of pop star culture and things, and the band culture is still there. It's slowly dying out. Hopefully it won't die out altogether, but you know, back in the day, people like Sanguma and, you know, the Patipots days, and that was all male driven, and you had your female singers, but they weren't supported enough, I don't think. And so, but it is going to take a long time. I think one thing that I've noticed in PNG is there's a lot of there's a lack of support from the people as well. I find this very catty kind of, you know, especially amongst women. And I hate, you know, I don't want to sound like I'm, you know, complaining or anything, but I think women need to empower each other, and we just don't. Sometimes I feel as though people are just trying to drag you down in this horrible jealousy thing, and it comes back to the way you feel about yourself and what you project onto others. If you're an unhappy person, you're going to be a nasty person. And attending the Women's Forum, which is where we met, I realised how important it is for women to support each other.
Yeah.
If you're, you know, if you're an up-and-coming pop star, or if you want to wear a different coloured shirt, or you know what I mean, that's great. You're expressing your individuality, and I hope to be able to do that and express it through music as well. So, and Mariani, you know, she's great. She just goes off and does her own thing. There are other singers, you know, Emma and all these, Samantha Clark. You know, she's great. When Sam was on The Voice, people tore her down, and it was disgusting.
Yeah.
This is a woman from Papua New Guinea who's standing up there, proud, and all people could do was comment about her dress and what song she sang. And I just thought, it's really, really sad that you are sitting there in your lounge room or on your computer, and this is all you have to say about
Keyboard
someone
warriors.
who's, someone who has the courage and the strength to stand up and follow what she loves. And then when she comes back to PNG, then all of a sudden everyone's like, oh yeah, she's from PNG, yeah, we love her, blah, blah, blah. So it's a very double-sided kind of catchy thing, and I would really love to see a change amongst peers in the way they treat each other and the way they support each other.
I mean, if anyone understands it, you know, all of that, it would definitely be me. You know, every time a show goes on, there's, you know, always someone on Facebook commenting. But, you know, as you said, you have to have a strong, you know, thick skin, you know, in this industry, whether it's in television or music or, you know, anything that's new, basically. Which is why I'm really, you know, glad that what you're doing, everything that you're, you know, you stand for, and, you know, as you said at the Women's Forum, you know, where we met, all the women that we met there, you know, they're all game changers. They're all going out there and doing something new, which is more and more of what we need. So thank you for that. And there are a lot of young girls out there, very impressionable young girls, who probably look up to you and listen to Courage. And, you know, like me, they were surprised that, you know, it was a Papua New Guinean woman singing a song that sounded honestly like it was someone from America or, you know, Australia. To those young women, would you can you give some words of advice? You know, how can they, you know, basically pursue their dreams?
First thing, you should never want to be like anyone. You should want to be like yourself. You have to focus on you. I think it's okay to idolize people. I mean, I look up to Whitney. She's like queen for me. I look up to people like Whitney. I look up to the greats, Ella Fitzgerald, Aretha Franklin, these women who could stand on stage fully clothed and belt out a song and the entire audience would just be in silence. So I think you need to choose your idols wisely. For young girls who are very impressionable, I think it's important to remember what's important. You know, you can, being glamorous and all that and wanting a boy's attention and stuff, you know, your first love should be yourself, not some boy, you know what I mean? And we need to support each other, and the friends that you have, you need to keep them close. If there are people around you that laugh at you and make fun of you, you need to push them to the side, because they are not good for you and they are not what's going to get you where you want to go. Communication is really important, and reaching out is important. If you have a problem, you need to talk about it. You know, keeping things in is really toxic and unhealthy. I'm looking forward to promoting strength in women and support in women. So I think if you want to be a singer, coming back to that, you need to work. You need to find your inroads, find your support. I'm here if you want to contact me somehow, please do. You know, eventually I'd love to be able to have a school or something where we can get creative minds together and just help them grow, you know. But yeah, I think it's important to focus on what's in here and not look too much at, you know, trying to be like someone else. You have to focus on and talk to your mum. She's really important.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that, Alyson. After the break, we have the rapid fire round. Stay with us. Welcome back to the the show now. Alyson, this part is the rapid fire round. It's just a bunch of questions, random questions that I'll ask you, and you just answer back with, the first thing that comes into your head, basically. So first things first, complete the following sentence. My strength is my...
Son.
The greatest inspiration is...
Life.
The one thing I lack in my life is...
Goodness me. The one thing I lack in my life is... I can't answer that. Currently, I have everything I want.
Okay,
Yeah.
fair enough. We'll move on. An idea that changed my life.
An idea that changed my life. I think making chocolate cupcakes and then putting peanut butter inside them. That changed my life.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds good though. I've never
really
tasted it though. What is a product you would endorse?
Oh, goodness. It doesn't exist, but if there was a product that you could spray on people to stop them judging you, I would absolutely endorse that.
Yeah, I would buy that, actually. Something you have tried but will never do again.
Oh, goodness me. Something I've tried but will never do again.
Yeah.
I think eating eel. I'll never eat eel. Yeah, I'm sure it's delicious for some people, but I tried it and yeah, I don't think I'll ever do that again.
Okay. If you could paint a picture of any scenery you've seen before, what would you paint?
Wow, that's quite a... These are really... You said this was light-hearted. Please. These are like really serious questions. Oh, I was in India actually, and just anything I saw was the most incredible thing I'd ever seen. One after the other, I think. India is such a vibrant, incredible place, and the colours and the people, and so any scape in India would make an incredible picture.
Okay, all right. If you could choose to stay a certain age forever, what age would you be?
Oh dear, I don't know. Maybe 2. Then I could just sleep and poop and not work and just eat. Yeah.
If you knew that world was ending at the end of this year, what would you do differently?
Oh my goodness. What? Who makes these questions?
I know.
What would I do differently? Oh, I think I would just do everything with more conviction. I would love harder. I would smile even brighter. I would, I think... but then it depends, I don't know, maybe I'd just grab my son and take off around the world. I don't know. I really, I just do everything more and more and more and more. Yeah.
All right. If you could witness any event, past, present, or future, what would it be?
I witness. Bliss. One kind question. No, I think I probably would have loved to have been around when they managed to get all those Easter Island heads into place.
Oh, yeah.
I would have loved to have seen how on earth they did that,
Yeah.
or how they built the pyramids, just something like this engineering back in the day. We think we're so smart, and these people had nothing, and they dragged these enormous things. So I'd like to have seen...
That's a really good answer, actually, yeah. What would you name the autobiography of your life?
Just Sing. I've thought of that one.
Yeah.
That's something probably my album would be called Just Sing. But yeah, when I was a little girl, it just was, I would always just say it to myself, just sing, just sing. So perhaps that.
Okay. And finally, name one song you would include on the soundtrack to your life. So this is basically the score of your life.
Oh my gosh, there's so many songs. I think Gypsy by Fleetwood Mac. I'd have to stick that in there because for a while I was just a nomad. And that song's about bringing yourself back to, where you were, and it's just I really love it.
Okay, wow. So, well, you've survived our rapid fire
Yes.
round. Yeah. That was amazing, though. That's all we have for, this episode of Rendezvous. Thank you so much for
You're
coming on
welcome.
the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
There you have it. That was Rendezvous with Leanne with Miss Alyson Joyce. Thank you so much for watching, and I shall see you on the next episode of Rendezvous. Have a good night.